A deadly parking garage collapse that happened in Manhattan. In this hour, we're learning new information about that. Joining us here on Live Now from Fox is Fox 5's Arthur Sheehan. Arthur, what do we know now at this hour? Do officials have any idea what may have caused this collapse?
That is something they're totally looking into. At the time of the collapse on the top floor, that was the first to come down. They say there were more than 50 SUVs, and clearly, in their words, that was just too much weight for that ceiling. Also, what we know right now is minutes ago, we got an update from the fire department. Previously, we knew about the one person who was killed and 5 people who were injured. The fire department tells us now there were actually 8 people who were injured, and one of those persons sustained injuries that are considered life-threatening at this hour. The other thing to update you on is the scene here. The demolition began about 6 hours ago, and much of the main structure has been taken down at this point, which is important because as we pan over to the left here, you'll see the medical examiner's office is here. The person who was killed here was, by all accounts, just beloved and respected in this neighborhood. His body is something they could see but could not get to safely. There's a pause. If you notice, none of the equipment is moving right now because they intend to get him now and bring him out, at least his body, in a dignified fashion. Demolition began today as heavy-duty grapplers started dismantling 57 Ann Street, beginning with the facade. Debris and even cars rained down onto the street 4 stories below. Those that did not fall were grabbed out and flattened. The building, structurally compromised, means no one can go in to retrieve the body of Willis Moore, crushed to death in the collapse. Christine Ayu was driven to tears as the demolition began. She lives next door and witnessed the collapse yesterday, reality setting in since the mother of 2 hasn't been able to go home.
Just sort of everything hitting me now, just because it's our home and all our belongings are in there.
Internal video shows how the 4-story parking garage collapsed yesterday from the very top, pancaking floor after floor down to the cellar. Cars and SUVs piled on top of each other. Within the mangled scene, some cars ended up vertically. This shot is from inside Sandy Imhoff's apartment. The collapse ripped through her wall, leaving a gash at least 4 feet wide. She grabbed her dog, but could not corral her cats. They're still inside the apartment, which is filling up with even more debris now that demolition has begun. Sandy and others are still waiting to go check on their homes and their pets.
When I left, it was filling up with cement dust. So they do have some food, but it would be gone pretty soon, and there's probably dirt on it.
About 10 buildings are still under evacuation orders here. The city is sampling air quality as the demolition is underway, focused on the dust and hazardous materials from gas tanks to fluids and electric vehicles. One city official tells Fox 5 there were no red flags in the building's history, but that more than 50 SUVs were parked on the top floor, parked bumper to bumper, saying, quote, obviously the roof could not hold the weight, end quote. Tonight, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office has initiated an investigation into this collapse as the city looks for lessons it can apply elsewhere.
There's an investigation into exactly what happened here and making sure if there's something we can put in place to prevent something like this from happening, we will.
Coming back live now, you're looking at the medical examiner's, what we would call a bus, which is actually a van, and we've just been informed by a source that the body that was trapped inside the building has now been removed. Also worth mentioning again, the fire department just updating us, in addition to the person who was killed here, it was actually 8 others who were injured. Again, one of those people injured sustained life-threatening injuries. We'll have to keep you posted on that person's condition. And the next thing that happens here is just an evaluation of what to do. It's not just this main structure that they're worried about, but the structural integrity of the buildings that surround it. Lexi?
Yeah, Arthur, such a sad update there. Just wondering, for people who might not be familiar with the area, how much of that area is blocked off right now as they continue to process the scene?
Oh, yeah. So that's a great question. Here in Lower Manhattan, Ann Street and Williams, where we stand, if you walk down that way, that's City Hall that you walk to within about 4 minutes. If you walk in this direction, you're at Wall Street within about 8 minutes. This is a very busy part of town. Characteristic for the financial district down here are the narrow streets, how buildings are right on top of each other. So in a way, when you think about the heavy equipment that has had to come in to demolish this building, it's been pretty tricky to navigate. A lot of streets are closed off. A lot of people have to go around, but down to the last person, everybody really just concerned about the individual who was killed here because he really had that much respect.
Yeah, thank you so much. Fox 5's Arthur Sheehan with that update from Manhattan.
Pleasure.
And you heard Arthur talking about the victim in this, who they were just able to remove his body. We're learning more about that individual as well. Here's this report from Fox 5's Antwan Lewis.
So it's kind of hard for me too, you know, not knowing that I won't see him again.
Willis Moore's neighbors in Laurelton, Queens are still in disbelief. Willis Moore is being identified as the victim killed in Tuesday's parking garage collapse in Lower Manhattan.
He's always been a good neighbor to us, you know, looked out, you know, Christmas came around, you know, we get cards and stuff like that. He was cool with my mom, you know, he was nice.
New Yorkers who use Central Parking System's garage said Moore was its longtime manager. Authorities say 6 garage workers were trapped when several upper floors caved in Tuesday afternoon. 5 of those workers survived. Moore is presumed deceased.
Willis was amazing. That's why my kids were so upset last night while we were trying to have dinner, and they were just distraught.
He's a nice guy. He's always joking with the people, you know, don't park the car here, you know, like playing around and stuff like that.
Moore is believed to have been on one of the upper levels of the 5-story garage when it fell. As the debris is being cleared, the mood near the scene is somber. Authorities say Moore's body is still trapped under the rubble, increasing the distress for those who knew him well.
He did provide for us sometimes when we were younger, whether it was just getting us tickets to amusement parks, Christmas time.
I hope this is all not real. It doesn't even seem real.